This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Sam, I'm glad you're here because you're the star of the agenda on at least two items. Let's see. Okay, on the lightning talks, are you interested or not? Sorry, I didn't mean it that way, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Okay.
I mean, I gotta think through exactly. I guess really we just present on probably the diport, what it is, what it offers and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, that can work. Actually, so it turns out that I'm trying to find. I've heard from ASC, Elco's here, and then Bill wants some time for the HIR, synopsis, Jawad, uh, NXP, and then I'm losing two people. Oh yeah, the guys who actually triggered it all. Okay, electronics. So I've got this many slots: 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 slots. I'm trying to think whether there might be somebody else who wants to sign on. I don't remember. This is what we have. This is what our schedule's like.
That's like 1 hour.
Yeah. So actually, that's what I wanted advice on. Archana's in my case, and rightfully so, to settle this. If you notice, this morning break ends at 10:45, and my next thing is at 11:40. So we've got 55 minutes here. Our choice is to insert the talks here or to move the panel here and insert the talks up in here, open with that. So I wanted your thoughts on which one's better.
So we talked about maybe extending the panel to 50 minutes.
Yeah, so I figured you could get that automatically by sort of eating some of the break.
Okay, that's fine. Sure.
So yeah, I would either extend you so the break is like a fixed time. They're in the sense that you have to either break at 10:30 and resume at 10:45. That's a fixed slot. So we can either move the panel here and extend it to 55 minutes or 50. So what do you, where do you, sorry, cat's got my time. Let me rephrase it. We need to, we have the opportunity to tinker with the sequencing. Does anybody have any good, interesting thoughts on the lightning talks be up front, in the middle, at the end?
What's the content of the lightning talk? Very quickly, could you run that?
Yeah, so what I was thinking was that, let me see what I do have. Oh, it's on the wrong laptop. Oh, I don't have it on this laptop. So each company's, what I was thinking was that we would organize the lightning. Let me see if I can find it.
That's okay. Bapi, and you're debating lightning talk versus what other content?
No, it's not versus. It is. So I was thinking of organizing the lightning talks around, hey, here's the concept of the marketplace, and here's how each company is contributing to that concept. That's roughly the idea in my head right now.
Well, you just had listed who the speakers were, right? Because you had Acronix, ourselves. What else was there? Yeah, just on that note. So IR, I mean, they do the optical PHY. Synopsis would have maybe their XSR SerDes. It's a sampler of all the things that are going on within ODSA. It looks like to me.
Right.
So, but all those lightning talks will add up to 40 minutes pretty quickly, right?
Right. Yeah. I think it's closer to an hour with a little bit of the way things will work.
So just insert it right here.
Switch speakers.
Then it
Right
is
after the morning break.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so.
Do
So
you
do it.
actually
You have to.
an hour? Because morning break is 15 minutes. So 10:30 till
We got 55 minutes.
45.
55 minutes. That's probably okay.
So what if you start to break at 10:30 like you have it, run it till 10:50, and then you've got 50 minutes for the lightning sessions.
Yeah, that's right. So the break, we resume at 10:45. It's a 15-minute break.
Yeah, even 20 minutes, right?
Okay. Oh, is it 20?
No, I said even whatever you want to make it,
even,
right?
okay.
15 or 20 minutes is
Yeah.
fine. Basically.
Well, the other way, maybe Sam, we could do is pair the lightning talks in some fashion. Maybe see if we can do that. I don't know whether it's even logistically possible or in terms of content.
Pair
Okay.
them. What do you mean?
Pair speakers up.
So in terms of flow, you were asking, I think it may be good to have the lightning at the very end of the day. Maybe, I don't know. I think that's what you're trying to decide, right? Because
Yeah. So
we're
we have a
talking
half
about,
day, right?
right? Meaning
yes.
at the end of the session or, morning. So we're talking about design considerations at the very beginning, and then discussion on what was that?
Okay. So then in that case,
Yeah.
this seems to be the natural spot. We'll just replace the old panel with this.
Awesome.
Okay. And I'll do something to make logistics easier. Maybe so that we just have to switch speakers and not the slide deck. Okay. So then, Sam, the second part I want to ask you was on the POC. I don't know whether JP has reached out to you. I'm assuming he has actually. I think I on.
Yeah, no, I think I sent you an email on that. Let's have a call. I'm generally, we've already spent a fair bit of energy on this thing. Now we want to redesign the board, and I just want to make sure that we're going to get some good value out of it.
Got it. Okay. So Kevin set up a call.
फोन को बात हुई
Okay, hang on. DJ.
DJ, mute.
I gotta mute DJ. Hang on.
Yeah, sorry, I'm muting. Sorry.
No worries, man. So Kevin has a call. We met late last night. We were meeting at around 5 p.m. Pacific. It's just kind of late for you. Is there any chance you can make that?
Yeah, I could probably make that. Just throw it on. I can.
Okay. Kevin, you want to? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Then we're trying to sort of pull a rabbit out of a hat and maybe even show some tangible boards at the. Have a long shot to show some tangible boards at the summit.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Invite me to that, and I'll try to. I should be able to.
Okay.
My wife's away, so.
On Valentine's Day?
Yeah, she's off with the kids, so.
Okay.
So.
Okay, so let me do a quick rundown of where we are with each item. So we have a long shot to show baseboard and at the Global Summit. On the pipe adapter, we actually, Rita was very gracious enough to arrange an introduction to their to Synopsys' PCI IP team, and we had a really good meeting with the person who chairs the PCI SIG, Richard Solomon. Do I have the name right, Rita? I hope so.
So Richard is the vice chair of the PCA SIG board
Yes. Okay.
member.
So he did ratify the basic idea of it is possible to get a D2D file to behave like a PCI file, or to make the controller think it's a PCI file. So that's a viable option. The one interesting thing he said, which I didn't realize, is that apparently PCI controllers don't support more than 16 lanes, which was news to me. The spec does, but most controllers don't.
Right, nobody uses it in standard world. Very, very corner cases, maybe one or two people may be doing it, but I would say 99% of the market is using only 16 as a maximum.
Yeah. So I think we're still aiming for a 0.5 dock. Richard and Paul volunteered to review it. We have to find somebody from Cadence to review the dock. But I'd say we're making pretty decent progress on this, and the basic approach has been ratified.
Excellent. You guys making good progress.
Yeah. And Synopsys. And apparently getting permission to use the pipe, the LTSSM picture in the spec is going to be harder than we thought. So we may have to lose it from the document.
Oh, because this is an Intel document.
No, it's because it's a PCI SIG document. We have to ask Intel. Actually, we have to find somebody in Intel who can give us permission. That's the second thing. Need permission from the big holes. That need permission from the PCI SIG.
Pipe is Intel, but PCI SIG, yes, LTSSM is the part of the PCI SIG standard. So yes,
right.
Only members have access to it. Good point.
Yes. So this is going to be a pain point for the pipe adapter. DJ, maybe we go through the OCP foundation for this if we want to reuse the pictures in some fashion, at least for Intel. Mark, anything you want to say on the?
Okay.
Mark, anything you want to say on the FI's the Bose spec? Excuse me.
I think we've got good alignment on bump patterns that we're going to be able to solidify for the spec. I think I spoke last week that we have a good voltage solution as well that the community seems to agree on. So we're making good progress. Next step is figuring out what we do about initialization, and there were some great proposals this week that I hope we can lock down on and incorporate. And thanks, Boppy, for some of your contributions as well on that.
Thank you. Elko, we need your help on, you saw the thing that we're hunting for information on yield in a package to make a decision on the spec.
Sorry, I was on mute. I saw the email. So just to be clear, when you guys are talking about the wires and trying to understand the wires, when you say wires, you're talking about traces. You're not talking about wires. Routing traces as opposed to physical wire bonds.
That's correct. Routing traces between the two chiplets or multiple chiplets.
Yeah.
Is that through the organic substrate or the interposer? In this case, for the bowl.
The request was for data on both, but the primary focus right now is on organic.
Organic, yes. Okay. So it's really the main package substrate you're talking about, for the most part.
For some of the higher density you guys were talking about, it may not be possible in organic. We'd have to look, but I think what we need to do is talk to the substrate suppliers, because typically, especially for these large body substrates, when we get them, they've been tested, so we don't actually see the panel yields, right? It's like buying die instead of wafers.
Okay.
Well, once we have them, the substrate yields are good, and then the assembly yields are very high. They're 3 nines or better.
Do you happen to have any names, or can you point us to someone?
Yeah, I'll send you a separate email. There's a couple of guys that I can refer you to.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. For the rest of the people on the call, there's a maybe Mark, you should actually do it, but summarizing Ken's email. Mark?
Yeah, are you asking
Oh,
for me to verbally summarize it now or to
would you
follow up?
mind? Just as an FYI, a brief summary for the people on the call so we don't sort of leave them drifting.
Yeah. I think the key question is we were briefly considering redundancy and whether it would be worthwhile, similar to what's implemented on HBM. And the general consensus, I think, has been that it's not necessary in most cases, but we did want to learn from OSATs and different folks who have different packaging technologies, whether that should be a feature that's needed or not. And we are interested in a number of different scenarios that could go from tens of wires to hundreds of wires to thousands of wires.
Thank you.
And I think that the very interesting thing would be any guidance, either backed by solid data or anecdotal evidence that would guide us to where we should start considering the benefits of adding redundant signal traces.
I guess it would depend also on your data rate and what your shielding is going to be, no?
From an SI point of view, certainly. I think our assumptions were that the main issues would be opens and shorts, but maybe that's not the
I
case.
see. Okay.
Okay. And I'd say we're still reasonably on track for a 0.8 spec, or actually I should say 0.8 white paper.
Is that what it is now? We keep changing the name.
No, we want a white paper even in Amsterdam, so that we don't have to jump through too many hoops to get it released.
Okay, perfect. I just want to know what we call it. Yeah.
Oh no, I remember what we called it. Sorry, neither a white paper nor a spec. We called it a proposal.
Yes. Yeah. I thought it was a spec proposal or something like that. Yeah.
Which seems like a good name again on Valentine's Day. So there you are. All right.
It is a bad day for proposals. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So and then JP says he'll release offline. He didn't say it here, but he'll release a design document. So at least we're on track to release something meaningful for three of our work streams. Jawad, any updates?
We're making progress on power modeling, but nothing to share right now.
Okay. And do you see releasing anything by the Global Summit?
There may be a test case modeling result that we could show. That depends how far we get along. So,
okay. The HBI guys had a second meeting yesterday. So if you're interested, reach out to Ken. You will have to sign a CLA to participate in the agreement. Excuse me, participate in the work stream.
What is the HBI? I don't know what that's a
Open
new
HBI.
acronym.
You remember Ken covered it at the December workshop. It's the idea of reusing HBM.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, the HBM reuse. Got it.
Yeah, and I think the intent is to start with HBM2 and then graduate to HBM3 when it's available. Okay. Sam, anything we should aim for on the business side, or
No, nothing right now.
okay? On the link layer, yes. Okay. So link layer, I'd say I think there's a much greater understanding of Diport. Gary had a second deeper dive, and he's working on a specific proposal. In fact, I'm going to meet with Gary on Tuesday to figure out how to map Diport to Bow, Mark. So we'll have at least two shots at mapping the PCI Gen 4 and Gen 5 to Bow, and then I'll take a shot at mapping Diport to Bow.
Great.
Yeah, did you get a chance to meet with Mendy?
No, not yet. I've reached out though to try to set up a time we can talk.
Yeah, apparently they have like a OMI AXI bridge of some kind.
Okay.
And it would be interesting to sort of, but for the other side of that bridge to be AXI over Diport over Bow, basically.
That's some interesting complications, right?
Well, yeah,
Interesting
but
layers.
you know how the OMI works. Have you
Yes.
heard
Yeah.
of it? Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they've got RTL. So for OMI is IBM's open has an open standard for
But
building a memory.
that goes over a SerDes multi-link SerDes interface, right?
Yes, on the other side is an OMI DIMM. So you can keep changing
Right.
the what kind of memory your processor uses without changing the memory interface on the processor itself.
Yeah, which is potentially quite interesting.
Yes. So inside the package, it feels like there'd be a really interesting chiplet if you had the OMI SerDes on one side and an AXI bridge over Bow on the other. So
Okay, like I said, we'll try to understand what that is and what the use case is. What I'm observing here are some interesting interactions that I did not anticipate at all between these new memory interfaces and the work that we're doing in trying to, like if we're going to put this memory interface in place, can we use it for kind of chiplet level, right? The Open HBI
exactly.
and then this, they're both similar. There's high bandwidth, there's memory semantics, and then the whole question is can we make this being more than just memory?
Yes. And yes, it is. There were two things. One was this idea of an open OMI AXI bridge, and the second was whether OpenCAPI could be ported through a pipe-like interface. Those are the two things that were floating around with IBM.
Yeah, but CAPI was that was a PCI extension, right? So you had the PCI.
But then they sort of went off to their own file layer after that.
I guess that's true.
Okay.
You need like an industry group to kind of coordinate all these things.
No kidding.
OMI really 25 gig SerDes? It's interesting. I just did a Google. It says OMI is based on a 96 lanes of 25 gig SerDes. Wow.
Yes, I think so, because these guys, I keep calling them PMC, but who bought PMC? Microchip?
Yeah, Microchip.
Yeah, so Microchip has actually, you know what? I'm hoping it's public. Let me go Google it first.
Microsemi bought PMC, not Microchip.
Microsemi, yeah.
Microsemi, but now it's all
Microsemi
Microchip.
has.
Microsemi bought PMC.
Microchip bought Microsemi. Yeah. Now, everything is Microchip now.
Right.
I didn't know Microsemi was bought as well.
little bit over a year.
Yep.
Oh, here it's public. Okay, all right, I found it. Anyway, they have a chip which basically I think makes an OMI DIMM.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, they have a chip that
IBM actually,
bridges
IBM
OMI
actually
to
just disclosed
DDR.
that in one of our workshops.
Right,
They
right.
went
So,
through a whole presentation on it.
but that's the processor side of the interface that they have, right, Mark? Then you need the DIMM side too.
Right, they shared pictures of the DIMM and everything as well.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
I think at the workshop at IBM. So that's all public and posted on our wiki.
Never mind then.
The only question I had was we were talking about AXI bridge, and I was
Right.
looking at 25 gig. I was just like, ooh, okay, is it overkill? Or what is it trying to do? That's what I was trying to understand. That's,
Yeah,
Yeah,
25 gig is no FEC, so it's good low latency.
oh,
That's why it's
Yeah,
interesting.
okay.
Yeah, presumably the AXI on the inside would be like a really wide bus, so you could run it much slower, I guess.
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay. Well, anyway, Sam, I thought that would be a pretty interesting combination of diport and Bo diport and AXI with OMI, if that's enough acronyms for you.
Enough acronyms and layers. I mean, ultimately, you gotta. My concern. I mean, the OMI stuff. I think is server. I mean, server memory scale out. I think it solves that well. And whether it, I don't know. We just got to look at all these things and try to figure it out. But I think it's certainly worth investigating and trying to understand what use cases this can solve versus the other work we're already doing.
Right, right. Well, hopefully you don't actually have to do anything, right? If they have AXI, then it's basically the same protocol should work as this, in theory. I mean, I don't know whether that's true or not, but in theory, it should just be your AXI bridge should work just fine with whatever's on the other side of the AXI.
In theory.
In theory,
There were
okay.
I mean, even in the diport stuff we did, there are sideband signals that we needed to carry through for some applications. So, like some signaling stuff outside of AXI that's part of that spec. So we gotta.
Hey, Kenneth, I'm glad to hear. Any update you want to share on OpenHBI? That's all I have right now for you.
So far we have 2 meetings. Second one in yesterday, but we have some delay on the CLA. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yep.
Okay, so we have some delay on the CLA, and so we are still working on it. But at the meantime, we are working with the team to at least let them know how the spec framework is planned. And then yesterday, we are trying to go a quick walkthrough of the chapters and some of the subsections that we are planning. And so far, so good. So we are hoping that the CLA will be available next week. But then, well, you never know the legal side of the timing. So if that all goes through, then we plan to have a few weeks of the CLA review and by the corresponding members, legal. And then if we execute it, then we will start doing the technical spec development. Starlings have mentioned before that we will contribute the initial draft for the as a baseline. So we are working on it and then we will make the modification along with the input from the team during this 3 weeks of discussion. But this 3 weeks, we cannot dive into the spec development details because of the CLA situation. So that's a quick update.
Thank you.
Thank you. I saw you make a text. Sorry, I joined late. So yes, if anyone who wants to join the work stream, please do contact me. However, one input that I learned from Archna is that if for those who are willing to sign the CLA, they do need some ownership of and contributions to the spec. So that means they will have to be active and then active participation and also active contribution to be part of this work stream, which is structured differently. So, but again, please contact me and then we can discuss. Thank you.
Hey, Mark. The one thing I thought, I don't know if it's technically possible, was that the initialization, calibration, and test to see whether they could be common between the OpenHBI and the Bow, the sort of non-data path components.
Okay, we'll have to see if we can sign the CLA so we can
Yeah,
trigger
otherwise,
that. I agree that it would be good to have as much alignment as possible, though. Absolutely.
Yeah, we have that intent, except last time when the Bapi brought it up, because we don't know how much alignment is there. So that's why I said it will be the best effort intent, but then it won't be a committed until we actually know what is needed. But by and large, a lot of the initialization and other things, I think it can be, if not common, it will be leverageable. The key thing is that what kind of interface you planned for the Bow to do your management. Because in the OpenHBI right now, we are proposing to use the SpyBus SPI, and so that will be considered as a management sideband. If you have that same plan or similar, then it's much easier. If you want to do it in band, I don't think there's much can be leveraged. So.
Yeah, our discussion on Friday led heavily to out-of-band initialization, so I'd be inclined to, work together and come up with something that makes a lot of sense for both.
Yep. Well, we can do so. If Bo is going to at least drive part of it, I can join and then we can leverage that way. If you intended to sign the CLA and join OpenHBI, and then of course welcome, and then we can work together that way. So. But we fully intended to have a fully defined chapters in the OpenHBI. So yeah, we can talk offline.
Yeah, actually, it would be better for, since the Bow is pretty much in the open. If it's hidden behind the CLA, that'll be hard. But we can cross that bridge when we come to it. Yeah, because as I said. Kenneth, I think DJ and the incubation committee will push back hard if the non-data path components are really different for the two interfaces. So that it's in our interest to sort of align them.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. That's basically it. Anybody have any opens? Sam, Kevin?
We covered the things I wanted to talk about.
Okay. DJ? Oh, thanks, Kevin. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm good, Bapi.
Okay. Elko, Jawad?
Nothing here.
I'm good, thanks.
Kenneth?
Sorry, a side question not related to this main group. On the panel, what do you call submissions of the second draft? When you said there's a few day more, meaning actually next month, next Tuesday, or is the last day or not?
Well, theoretically, today is the last day. I'm really hoping we get something by the 19th. Good question. Mark, hint, I guess.
Yeah, I know. It's top of my pile.
Please send them send them to Mark and me by the 19th if you can.
Okay, so upload to the links and
no. Just send them to either me or Mark, and we'll create one consolidated deck and upload it to the links.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yep. Okay. Well, the latest will be 18th. I'm actually planning to work on it today. But then you have a update that Mark would work on something to see if there's a commonality on the FOMs
Oh
of
my
merit.
God, yes. Thank you.
So
Thank you.
because
Yes.
that one I haven't seen yet, so I don't know how we construct or modify the slide deck.
Well,
So.
that's a huge point. Yes, thank you. Mark,
What did you volunteer me for?
well, yes, I did volunteer you for. So, there's some overlap between Kenneth's deck and Manuel's deck, and I suspect there'll be an overlap between, with Ramin's as well. That you would sort of create a base deck of here are the parameters by which you evaluate phi's. Here's the things we all agree on. A few foils so that the other presenters don't have to cover that same ground again.
Okay, kind of an introduction to what's important.
Yes. Building off the hot interconnect, we had this hot eye paper on here are the parameters by which phi's are evaluated.
Yep.
And just sort of motherhood and apple pie that everybody agrees on.
Okay, and I do that in 3 pages, right?
As many as you want.
Well, the challenge is that I would rather see what Mark is going to present before I modify my deck. So if I don't know when Mark will have time to actually do it and send it to the team. So.
Sorry, that's a good question. This new part I haven't really thought through entirely, so it'll probably take me a few days.
Yeah. So anyway, I think what we need to plan on is I don't know the Manuel and others knows about this dependency or not, or they may not plan to have this dependency. But in my case, since I attended the last meeting and do the review, and then the DJ and then Papi has explicitly suggested this way, and then so I think I'm going to wait a little bit. I will plan my stuff for now, and then we'll go from there. So I will use a 2/18 as my target date. So FYI, thank you.
Oh, thanks, Kenneth. I totally forgot about that. I'm glad you brought it up.
Sure. Hey, I follow Papi's leadership 100%.
Oh, sure. Rita had this nice idea of consolidating all the decks into one and uploading it as one deck. So I'm just copying.
It was less painful, but collecting them might be painful, but.
I'm giving you the same date, please. I mean, Archana is already unhappy, so.
HPM panel, what is it?
HPM workflow panel.
HPI, you mean?
No, I don't mean. I mean HPM workflow.
So the HPM workflow, one thing is, I'm just barely getting the first draft. I had one of the panelists being sick, another one traveling, and getting blessing from the headquarters. I think I'm going to have something by Monday, but that would be very much the first draft. And I think I may have to do one review for them, but I will pull something together and upload by the 19th, but we may need to update it after that. Just wanted to give you a heads up.
Got it. Okay. Well, yeah, we can update it, but I think there needs to be something by 2/19, and then the pain point will be if there's big changes, then you'll have to go and upload them again to the.
So what is the upload going to do? Is it going to be what we're going to end up having to use, or can we still update it before the presentation?
This is one of the most confusing things. Well, actually, I take that back. This is. Let me scratch that. It actually saved my bacon in September, so I'm not going to complain about this.
Okay.
You upload a near final deck, and if there are changes, you can change it and then upload a different deck on the day of the conference. But then you'll have to re-upload that final deck. The huge value of uploading something real final is there's always some calamity or glitch, and then you have a deck to fall back on.
I was just wondering, I mean, they were making all these threats that you're going to drop your session and all these other things. I was just trying to make sure.
Yeah, but we've got DJ. DJ will take care of everything.
Okay.
We just
Thank
need
you,
something.
DJ.
That's basically it. Wait, who did I miss? I'm sorry. Kenneth, since Kenneth brought up. Kevin, you said nothing, right? Mark, Rita, any opens?
No, that's it.
Other than the whole new thing I have to write a presentation about.
Hey, that was not fine.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Scott and Tawfiq?
Nothing for me. I'm good.
Okay.
Nothing from me. I'm good. Thank you.
Thanks. And Tawfiq, thank you. Microsoft is Ishwar has been a very active participant in the pipe 5 spec, and we're hoping for some input from him on the link layer stuff too. So thank you so much.
Oh, cool. Thanks. Glad it's happening.
Caller 01, 03, and 04. Who's that?
One of them is me. I'm not sure which one because I couldn't.
Okay. I guess it's somebody dialed in.
I think Kenneth also dialed in too.
Yeah, Kenneth, are you on the phone too? Okay.
I'm sorry. What is it?
Did you dial in as well, or are you just on the? There's 3 callers. I'm trying to find out if there's anybody there. So.
Oh yes, I dial in. I don't have audio on the share screen. Sorry.
Got it. Okay.
So that's caller 04.
We're all set. We got 3 callers. Well, thank you, everyone. As always.
Thanks, Poppy.
Thank
have
you.
a good weekend.
Thank you.
Good one.
Have a nice weekend. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.